I want to take you to a very sacred place for me, a special place in Lourdes, France, that I had the opportunity to visit in August of 2019. When I was diagnosed in early 2017 with peritoneal cancer, ovarian cancer, breast cancer, and a spot in my lung, a very dear friend gave me a bottle of water that had been in her china cabinet for 32 years. And I was so touched by that act of kindness that I made a pledge with her that someday I hope to be able to visit Lourdes in person, Lourdes, France, where the water was taken from. Within this video, it's my purpose to share my trip with you so you can see what a lovely, peaceful, serene, beautiful place it really is. There's a movie about this place called Song of Bernadette I saw when I was a young child. It's currently on Netflix, and I'll never forget it. It's a story in 1858 of a 14-year-old girl known as Bernadette who saw the Virgin Mary there. So this is about 160 plus years that people have been celebrating this location. So I looked up how many persons go to Disneyland each year in Anaheim, California by comparison, and it's around 18 million people a year. So over a third of the number of people that go to Disneyland make the pilgrimage to Lourdes, France each year. And I had to ask myself why. There's no entertainment, there's no rides. What is it that is drawing people like a magnet to Lourdes, France? Now it's reported that some people go to witness sociological phenomenon at holy sites around the world. Some are cynical, some are mystified, some are simply curious. I think that both my brother and I, who went together, were deeply moved by the presence of what we saw in Lourdes, by all the persons lighting candles, by persons praying for their loved ones. We tried to take as many prayer and messages for people, prayer requests when we went, because we felt indeed fortunate that we were able to make this trip. As the story goes, Bernadette, a poor miller's daughter who couldn't read or write, was going to gather firewood, and all of a sudden she reported in her words, "I heard the sound of wind as in a storm. I looked up and saw a cluster of branches underneath the topmost opening in the grotto, tossing and swaying, though nothing else stirred all around. Within the opening I saw a girl in white, no bigger than myself, who greeted me with a slight bow of the head." Bernadette reports that during that time she saw the girl in white 17 more times over the next few months, and the girl was standing in a recess in the cliff surrounded by branches of wild roses. The girl showed Bernadette a trickling spring close by, and she said, "Go tell the local priest to build a chapel here at the grotto." And after the 16th appearance, the young girl said to Bernadette, "I am the Immaculate Conception." Now, because no one else saw this, people made fun of Bernadette. They didn't really believe her. She had a rough time because of these apparent sightings that she reported to a local priest. However, as the story goes, after her 15th vision, 8,000 people had already crowded in the local town to see her. And although she was scolded for years after these visions, the local clergy finally deemed them divine, and a church was built over the grotto. By 1910, bottles of Lourdes water were being sent around the world, and 1 million people were coming to the shrine every year. There's something known as the spirit of place, and I certainly felt the spirit in this place. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, people come to the grotto and just sit and pray and watch. They have sort of random mass services, they have processionals, they have various musicians. Um, Persons are very happy and kind and helpful to each other. They may not speak the same language, but I found that I could just sit there for hours and just watch and just experience that location. They do have a camera set up, so you can watch all of this yourself from your home, wherever you live, um, online. But it's very different, of course, to be there. And what I've tried to do with this video is do my best to capture some of the music, some of the processionals, some of the experience, so as much as possible I can let you feel like you were there with me. It was interesting for me to note that in this location, 66 to 67 healings have actually been verified by the Catholic Church. They have a hospital there, they have a museum there, they have a sort of scientific inquiry building, lots of buildings on the property. But they also report 50 unverified healings a month continue to be reported. Therefore, when you're there, you'll see many persons with disabilities come. Many persons with disabilities make the pilgrimage to Lourdes. And they have baths there where you can be immersed in the water. I didn't have the time to do that because, as you can see, the lines are very long. But a little bit later, you'll see I got as much of the water on me and into the water as possible. Typically, what happens is persons start to collect the water, start to gather the water to prepare it to take it back as best they can. And my brother and I were no different. He helped me even going out looking in dumpsters in the evening in the small town where we stayed, getting cardboard boxes. We went to grocery stores to get string and handles to try to determine how we were going to take as much water back for our friends as possible. You can see all the candles I'm showing you. There are so many candles lit every day, and at the grotto, the candles that you see sort of in the triangular pattern, every night big trucks come around with big containers. They gather all the wax and they take it away, shovel it out literally, and they put it into molds to prepare it for candles for the next day, where you make donations and then you can purchase different size candles, tall candles, small candles, as you need. Over the years, they've had a variety of ways and methods for people to collect water. This is the current one. There's a wall with many places where you can collect as much water or bathe yourself, wash your arms, your head. And this is what I did. You can see there I'm soaked from head to toe from spending time at that wall to get as much water as possible. Something that's kind of interesting, I'm a germaphobe by nature, but my brother kept watching me as he took pictures and filmed me, and you can see this grotto, the walls damp, and thousands of people touch it. But I had no hesitation walking through the grotto, letting the water drip in my mouth or drip on me, drinking it from that wall of water, filling containers and drinking as much water as I could while I was there. He didn't tell me till much later that the containers that we prepared and I drank from, we didn't even rinse them out from the store. Here you see me beginning another walk through the grotto. Notice there that I'm in blue. What's particularly interesting is, if you remember, I'm in the same white outfit throughout this trip. But in this particular trip through the grotto, it was blue. It was the color of Mary's sash. And why the film came out as blue, I don't understand. But that's something very meaningful and very special to me. That those particular pictures during that trip through the grotto, when I was drinking the water, touching the water, getting into all the water and the rock as much and as close as I could. It was a very spiritual undertaking for me, and symbolically, somehow the pictures, we can't explain, changed my clothing from white to blue. So those are some pretty important photos for me from my trip to the grotto. You know, even though this was a very moving and touching trip for me and visit, I have to admit I still wasn't as knowledgeable or impressed about the water until 2 months later when I heard a report of actually how blessed or holy water changes. And so I was just stunned, and that's why you're going to hear me begin to talk to you a lot about water. This is another shot I love. I call it my out of body experience. There were two of me accidentally somehow in that one photograph my brother snapped. So I've since learned that the H2O water molecules in blessed water are different. So please, in the future, if you're interested in water, I invite you to listen to the videos on healing water that I'll prepare for you.